It's almost been 24 hours since Francis Ngannou lost to Tyson Fury. In my opinion, I think Francis Ngannou won the fight, dropping Tyson Fury in the third, and all around looks like he outboxed Tyson Fury. But never mind the results. Let's talk about 5 things that we learned from this fight. Starting with number 1. After this fight, I believe experience is bull in combat sports. It's known that when you have a guy who's smart or has a lot of talent in boxing or MMA, he usually runs through guys that have a lot of experience. I don't know what it is, but some gifts are just unmatched and unfair, and they blow through guys' experience like nothing. I believe when it comes to Francis Ngannou, not only does he have legendary power, it's also his IQ. He's a very smart man. He's the first man to stick it to the UFC and be successful with it. Maybe getting on Dana White's radar, being as rich as him. We saw Ngannou come closer to beating Tyson Fury than anybody before, including Deontay Wilder. Guys like Dillian White who have boxed all their lives. David Chisora, on and on and on. Ngannou did the best, and that is crazy to say. Number 2, boxing is a dominant style in MMA. Joe Rogan and guys keep talking about wrestling and how you can dictate where the fight goes with wrestling.
It's important discipline for MMA.
You think?
Yeah, I think it's the foundation because the wrestler can dictate where the fight takes place. You know, if the wrestler chooses to stand, he can stand. If the wrestler wants to get back up, he can get back up.
Right.
And the wrestler knows how to.
But guess what? Ngannou started as a boxer, pure boxer, and jumped right into MMA. His physical strength was good enough to stop even the best of wrestlers shooting on him. And it's all because of his boxing that he's able to put guys in bad positions by pressuring them and having an aura of invincibility where he cracks, knock guys out. Only boxers have that quick success in MMA. If you think about fighters like Holly Holm, who jumped ship and defeated the best MMA fighters on the roster. Then we have wrestlers who are supposed to be the best styled fighters, like Matt Littland, who were getting knocked out by everybody, and a lot of guys like that never became champions. So I believe boxing is a dominant style in all of fighting, and the most useful one. I mean, Ngannou is a threat to wrestler John Jones right now. All it takes to stop wrestling is physical strength. Boxing is a different animal. Number 3, I found out like Francis Ngannou is a legit genius, leaving the UFC contract where he was making close to $500,000 per fight in a world championship fight against the very dangerous Cyril Gane. He went on to make over $10 million this fight, his professional debut against Tyson Fury. Scumbags like Hunter Campbell try to hold him back, and he gave it to them on the Joe Rogan podcast. He didn't take no for an answer, and now he's one of the richest MMA fighters of all time.
I had a dinner with Hunter. After we been going through stuff, he said no to this, no to that. Yeah, he proposed at dinner. And then I just like, this guy is making fun of me.
Make it funny.
Yeah.
It's more than his punching power. This guy is pure genius, and he was able to make adjustments against Tyson Fury on the fly. This guy's IQ is so high, just like Johnny Bones Jones, to where I think he can be John Bones Jones, and I can't wait till he gets that fight. And number 4, boxing takes more stamina than MMA. Every time there's a crossover between each of the fighters, MMA or boxing, it comes to mind, it's always the MMA fighter that gasses out. Boxing is a little bit different. It's a little bit longer on the main events, and it's a little bit more action-packed. MMA fighters have the opportunity to clinch, go on the ground to take a breather, but boxers have to keep punching. And we saw that with Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou would have won this fight if it was an even shorter fight than 10 rounds. But since it was 10, he did slow down at the end, opening a robbery towards victory for Tyson Fury. But if it would have been a shorter fighter, he wins it hands down. And number 5, Francis Ngannou's power is real. I always wondered about this. You see, every time MMA fighters transition over to boxing, power goes away. The small gloves protect your hands from breaking. That is it. They don't protect the opponent. In boxing, they protect your hands and the opponent. So you have to have a lot of power to knock guys out in boxing. I always thought Francis Ngannou, and a lot of boxers did too, his power was a myth. Deontay punches a lot harder. Dillian White punches a lot harder. But we saw that Francis Ngannou's power is legit. It transitions over to boxing perfectly. He only hit Tyson Fury clean once and dropped him. I can't imagine if he got full force behind that. So his power is legit. He is a Ford Escort, or whatever Dana White said.
And Francis Ngannou has the world record for the most powerful punch. His punch is the equivalent to 96 horsepower, which is equal to getting hit by a Ford Escort going as fast as it can.
And I believe with that power, he can easily become a top 10 contender in all of boxing, which is crazy. A guy with one fight ever won the championship and now is considered a top 10 contender. Insane. The power is unreal, and hats off to Francis Ngannou. He fought a hell of a fight, and I believe he won that fight. That's 5 things that we learned. If we learned anything else, tell me why in the comments.